Sometimes it's a powerful version of a car that doesn't stir up much talk. Occasionally it's conservative styling, and sometimes a car's capabilities are just kept under wraps as to not draw attention away from a manufacturer's flagship trims or models. Either way, there's plenty of instances when we're given cars that are often disregarded based on the reputation or lack thereof, that can outperform its competition often for less money. Today we're going to be talking about the 5 most underrated European cars. But before we take a deep dive into some of the greatest unloved European cars of all time, I need you guys to go ahead and slap that subscribe button if you haven't already, and head over to fitmentindustries.com to browse the most comprehensive wheel, tire, and suspension store of all time. And while you're there, make sure to add your car to the largest wheel fitment gallery if you have wheels, tires, and suspension. And we even started car review blogs over there. So go check that out after you finish this video. Let's get into it. Now, you know your boy couldn't get through this list without a shout out to the Swedes. Volvo is probably one of the most notorious car brands for having underrated enthusiast cars. Volvo markets their brand to promote safety and luxury. Even then, most people in the automotive realm know that Volvo has performance-oriented R and Polestar branded models. This Volvo, though, goes even deeper than that. Throughout the 1990s, Volvo was using a very stout engine across their platforms, referred to as the HPT or high pressure turbo white block. The white block Volvo engine may be most famous for its use in the Volvo 850R. It had a very strong over-engineered rotating assembly with a 5-cylinder configuration that gave it nearly unmatched ability to stack on reliable miles. The turbocharged variants from this era only came with an automatic option, with very tall gears resulting in lackluster performance. However, in 1997, for the 98 model year, Volvo's facelift from the 850 to the S70 V70 allowed buyers to special order T5 models, designating a high-pressure turbo engine from the 850R with a manual transmission. Legend has it that only a few hundred were actually even brought to the States, but even with such limited numbers though, these cars don't fetch a ton of money, so no one really blinks an eye at them. This is the perfect loophole to get into a car that makes good power for not a lot of money with a manual transmission without paying your performance-branded taxes. The 1998 Volvo S70 and V70 T5 manuals carry some of the best bang for your buck performance on the low-budget market right now. Don't sleep on these things while they're still cheap. Let's move on. The next car on this list is, well, it's a Volkswagen Beetle. But it's not just any old Beetle, all right? And it certainly ain't no 4-cylinder either.
No.
I'm referring to the 2001 to 2003 Volkswagen Beetle RSI. Volkswagen went absolutely mad for the production of the RSI, so it's no wonder they only made 250 of these things, and they sold them for nearly $80,000 back in the early 2000s. With inflation, that's a little over $100,000 for a Beetle. This Beetle is extremely special though. The underpinnings of this car would eventually be what the Mark IV R32 and Audi TT 3.2 would be based off of. The Beetle RSI was equipped with a 225 horsepower, 3.2 liter VR6 backed by a 6-speed manual transmission, with power being distributed to all 4 wheels through Volkswagen's 4Motion all-wheel drive system. But the crazy doesn't stop there for $80,000. This car was wider than your standard Beetle. It utilized wider fenders and unique, more aggressive front and rear bumpers, and the interior was stripped down to reduce weight. With carbon fiber fixed seats, carbon fiber door panels, manual windows, reduced sound deadening, and the list goes on. Now at 3,300 pounds and 220 odd horsepower, I know this thing doesn't sound very exciting, but for the early 2000s, a Beetle with stats like this was pretty friggin' mind-blowing, and somehow it became an actual production car. You don't see manufacturers pulling tricks like this anymore. And based on the new Beetle's reputation, not many people know or even care about it. For this reason, the 2001 to 2003 Beetle RSI is one of the most underrated European cars right now. 3 letters, AMG. Now, you might be thinking, how in the Sam hell can a company that is world-renowned for producing some of the most powerful luxury muscle cars on the market have an underrated car in their fleet? Well, let me introduce you to the R-Class Mercedes-Benz. The R-Class Mercedes-Benz is based on the GL Class SUV, but it's classified as a wagon. But with its size, it very much resembles that of a minivan and is often mistaken for one. So what happens when the crazies over at AMG get their hands on an R-Class Mercedes? Well, you end up with a 507 horsepower, 6.2 liter V8 powered all-wheel drive minivan that can blast to 60 in just 4.5 seconds in a friggin' minivan. The R63 AMG is a long lost gem simply based on the fact that even the R-Class alone didn't do all that well. It was a bit blah looking compared to the other Mercedes-Benz offerings at the time, and it was a bit expensive with that in mind. But with 500 horsepower, a big old V8, the convenience of a giant station wagon, the comfort and technology that Mercedes-Benz had to offer, minus the exterior, there was nothing not to love here. And that's why the R63 AMG will go down in history as one of the most underrated cars of all friggin' time. One of the most overlooked cars when it comes to true sports cars is the 2006 to 2008 BMW Z4M. The Z3 and Z4 cars have a negative stigma for being too feminine, whatever that even means, or midlife crisis sports car, often compared to the likes of a Miata. Because of this, people overlook the genuine performance and capability of these vehicles, and so less and less people learn about them, which is extremely unfortunate because these bad mama jammas weigh in at around 3,200 pounds and come with the E46 M3's 338 horsepower, naturally aspirated S52 engine. These engines are an absolute masterpiece of engineering, and to be able to get behind an S52 powered anything with a manual transmission without the M3 tack is the absolute deal of the century. It truly is a shame that such a capable, well-engineered machine gets written off for some really petty reasons. The E85 Z4M is absolutely an underrated superhero of its time and should really be on your radar. M3s are quickly rising in value, and these are 99% of the E46 M3 experience for 60% of the money. Possibly the most underrated car of all time has to go to a car that has Bentley guts, but has a Volkswagen badge on the grille. I'm of course talking about the 2004 to 2006 Volkswagen Phaeton. Now these cars were a massive flop in the United States, but it may be one of the most over-engineered luxury sedans ever produced. And most of them with Volkswagen Audi's popular 4.2 liter V8 with 335 horsepower, or since it was literally on the Bentley Continental and A8 platform, you're actually able to option this thing with Bentley's 6 friggin' liter W12 with 420 horsepower. Now, 420 horsepower may not sound like a lot these days, but with all of the crazy engineering that went into every square inch of these cars, the W12 model was able to achieve a 201 mile an hour top speed. The original MSRP of these cars started at over $80,000 for the V8 and $94,000 for the W12 powered Volkswagen sedan, which is an absolute ass load of money. But considering the Phaeton was equipped with 95% of Bentley's technology, materials, and comfort quality, it's an absolute bargain compared to the $200,000 plus Continental it was based on. These things have friggin' range dynamic headlights, radar guided cruise control with automatic braking, and road sign recognition. Guys, this thing has an onboard camera that reads road signs to assist you with speed limit warnings. And it even had an onboard dehumidifier to eliminate any fogging issues. You could get 10-way power reclining, heated, vented, massaging rear seats with power lumbar adjustment. You could even factory option a badgeless trim. But the physical perfection of the Phaeton wasn't the only thing Volkswagen inherited from Bentley. The Phaeton also suffered massively from depreciation. For less than the price of an 8-year-old top trim GLI Jetta, you can have 100% Bentley luxury and technology. Now, of course, these cars are massively depreciated because you really are essentially buying a 15-year-old Bentley. But if you can turn a few wrenches and you're handy with part number cross-referencing, you could own arguably one of the most over-engineered cars ever produced. Fortunately, with its conservative styling, it just looks like a big Passat and never really gained the following it actually deserves. And for that reason, the Volkswagen Phaeton is the most underrated European car ever produced. But that about wraps it up for my top 5 most underrated European cars. What do you think is an underrated Euro car? Let me know in the comments down below. I try to respond to every dang one of them. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We upload 7 freaking days a week, and you're not going to want to miss any of the crazy shenanigans we're up to. And head over to fitmentindustries.com for all of your wheel, tire, and suspension needs. And while you're there, check out the blog section. We started doing car reviews and all sorts of other things over there. I'm Sean from Fitment Industries, SeanB.fi on Instagram. See you on the flip side. Peace.